Well, you all, it's Monday, June 26th of 2023. It was raining pretty good this morning, and so I instead decided that I would do a couple more coats on this. I did a really thin one at first. Now, I super screwed up. Well, I sanded that off as well. It looks like that. But I super screwed up. You know, at the store, they had this like rubbery stuff that was like 14 bucks, or it was like 12 bucks. And they had a bigger thing of Bondo that was double the price, and I just didn't need all that much. I bought the little thing. I didn't really read it. And it's good because you can use it like underwater and stuff. But I put it on. Unfortunately, I scraped it kind of smooth. And then it was like, on the thing, it was like not ideal for sanding. So, like I said, don't do things the way that I do things because I mess things up all the time. I'm just like taking a record of like what I'm up to and then, for better or worse, I suppose. So I did, after that stuff dried for quite a while, I did sand it a little bit, the high spots and stuff. And, there's some areas where you can still see there was like a deep knot here previously, and it's not so deep. So, you know, we'll see. I don't need it to be perfect. I need it to not have too many holes or anything. The paint is supposed to be self-leveling to some degree. The tub and tile refinishing kits. My goal again is basically just a tile like finish without actually having tile on here and like grout and all that stuff. So again, this stuff may crack because it's going to expand and shrink, like especially if I were to leave the house unheated for a winter, it's going to expand and shrink at a different rate than the wood that it's going on. But, I told myself, well, I'd fill the cracks with a slightly different color and then do a hard epoxy, clear epoxy over it. Because I'm into weird stuff like that, which a lot of people aren't. But the other thing is, like, if I totally botch this and it's a disaster, I am somebody that actually has experience working with concrete, and like I used to make concrete pots and for like little mini succulent gardens and things like that. So for me, for I don't find working with concrete intimidating. So for me, if I botch this, it would not be easy for me to just put a little bit of forming around the countertop and then pour like a Portland cement counter over top of this. Okay, so I don't want, Portland cement is porous, and then I would end up having to put some sort of sealer on it and all this stuff. And, it might look quite nice to do like a really dark, like, but I wanted something that was like a little bit of a lighter gray and just easy to clean and not needing refinishing all the time. So we'll see how it works. But today is like the moment of truth because, I got to get this done. I'm using my downstairs shower slash bathtub as my dishwashing station, and it's not working out so great because it's very inconvenient. Lots of things are inconvenient, and I have this great stuff that's coming in. I had originally talked about the old heavy, like 90-pound or more. It's like this crazy heavy double sink, deep cast iron ceramic double sink that came out of there. I was originally going to refinish it. But the thing is like even the cast iron has like rust spots underneath a little bit. And it just doesn't make any sense at all. Like at first, I didn't really understand until I went to take it out. I didn't understand that that's a cast iron sink. So it doesn't make sense to use that as an outdoor sink for my outdoor kitchen. And now I have this shallower sink that is in the barn that I can take off that I can use for my outdoor kitchen. That's just going to do much better weathering the weather and everything. And at the same time, in my actual kitchen, I'll have the really nice double sinks for a lot of heavy usage because I do want to get to a point eventually where I'm doing a lot of canning, not just for personal use, but also for sales. And I want my kitchen to be very usable and very easy to keep clean and all these things. It was like even the layers of stuff that I had on here before, it's like it wasn't completely non-porous, and so I'd have to just clean it real quick. And I, couldn't, if like it would be a problem if there was like standing water on it, for example. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm mostly just babbling because I'm a little bit nervous because so this is what's going on there. Gloss coastal fog. I was seen one other guy say that just to do his shower and everything in the tile, it took multiples of these, and that it tends to dissolve the rollers. So I only have three little mini 4-inch rollers to use with this. They're little mini foam rollers. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just gonna basically, I have to wait in between coats, and I'm just gonna basically try to use up this whole thing. I'm gonna put on a thin coat, and then I'm gonna let that dry for an hour, because I've sanded this a little bit too. So I'm gonna put on a thin coat, let that dry a little bit, and then I'm gonna put on a heavier, like thick coat, and actually try to get it to see if it can do the self-leveling to fill some of these bumps and stuff like that. Because I'm like done with this. I'm not gonna put in another $25 to do the all the smoothing and everything, because I'm just, again, I don't do things the right way. I gotta pick and choose my battles. My to-do list is really long. I'm super duper exhausted. So like, I haven't even finished painting my nook yet. I got my roller still in plastic, and it still seems to be a little bit moist. So we'll see how it goes, if I can still salvage that roller, because you guys know that's been a while ago now. So anyways, I'll be back with y'all. Well, anyways, I was telling somebody that I was just gonna go ahead and go for it, and he told me, "You're such a F up." And he's somebody who actually knows I'm just doing all this stuff on my own, all the tilling, all the everything. So he's a salty little critic, but I just wanted to say that this is clearly not the right way to do things. I mean, look at this. This is clearly not the right way to do things. But what my goal is right now with this $42 kit is it has these two pieces. And it's very likely that to get like a really good thing, I was maybe going to need a second cut eventually anyways. But my goal is I really want to get this area here done with a nice, like hard, non-porous surface. But I don't want to just try to like get clever and just mix part of these two things together, because if I don't get it quite right, it's like just going to mess everything up. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to just mix the whole thing and use it. And my goal, again, was mostly I want to get my sink together, get my plumbing bits together. I was over at a friend's house yesterday who I hadn't talked to in some years, and a neighbor of mine, and you know, they were building a house basically from the ground up, attached to a tiny little house they had. But yeah, they got a lot of extra plumbing parts and stuff. But well, I don't want to say they anymore, but you know, I guess kind of as an off branch, I just want you guys to remember that all sorts of people out there are going through like extreme hardships right now, and have been for some years. Like just about everybody I know has been through some severe hardship, and you know, two of my neighbors have lost spouses just over the past couple years, and all sorts of stuff has been hitting the fan for people in their personal life. So even though people are trying to like act civilized and normal when you go out to the grocery store most of the time and stuff, just remember that a lot of people are going through some stuff that they may not be talking about, okay? But anyways, I need to get my flipping sink in and hooked up, okay? It's got to happen. So I need to get that done. I thought about just doing a temporary rig, but I'm like, no. I need to get the non-porous, like the really good surface on here. That is also not going to be, because like, for example, I had parts of this come off because I was up on here, standing up on here to do the ceiling and stuff like that. So I actually scratched parts of the paint off, but because I did too thick of I didn't like stack a bunch of tiny little thin layers. I did a thick layer, which now I learned better that you can't be doing that with cabinets. So when I eventually one day do these cabinets, I know you got to just stack up a whole bunch of little thin layers, and it makes it chip and peel and scratch resistant, so to speak. Anyways, it's raining again out there, so my phone just won't stop going off, but it doesn't matter. I'm getting spam calls. So, non-porous surface, if I want to go back over this later, you know, and add another kit later. And like, even if this one is just good, but let's say I want more of, since this will self-level, I can just focus my other kit on this area if I want to. But I'm at least going to have a nice scrubbable, because see, like this stuff is not really scrubbable. Okay. I want a nice, firm, non-porous, scrubbable, cleanable surface. And so even if it's not perfect, I feel like that is what I'm going to have after this is done. So, sorry I'm rambling, but it's like my exhaustion talking. And also, you know, sometimes I just let it hang out and show you guys I'm screwing things up. Like I bought the non-sandable filler stuff, okay? Because people, they want to make all these really absurd demands on me sometimes, and they don't understand how I'm living my life, like the kind of stuff that I got to deal with just in my immediate world. I mean, like, look at this. Okay, this is my floor. This is my kitchen floor, you guys. Okay, and everybody wants to tell me about all the stuff they need to have taken care of. Okay, well, I have stuff too, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up. I gotta like read the, I'm so tired. I almost feel like maybe I won't read the directions, but I gotta read the directions, and then I'm gonna get cracking at this. I almost forgot to mention, so this thing has been amazing because you can actually fit, you know, it's like you fit the 4-inch roller, and you know, for your brush it has like a little lip up here. I got this at Home Depot. You know, sometimes I'm like, well, I feel bad about spending money, but I know I'd be using this thing up a lot versus just having a little bucket or just like a little solo cup or something. So this part is actually on the underneath, it's not inside. But this was the liner I used for my ceiling paint, and my other liners are like used up and going to be getting used some more here soon. So I spent like a while I was relaxing after I did some weeding outside, and while the sun was actually hot and like blazing out there, I spent a while scraping out, peeling out the old ceiling paint out of this, because there's no way that I'm gonna drive out an hour and a half, do an hour and a half of driving for the Home Depot right now to get more of these, and it'll cost money. So I'm like, you know what, I'll just peel out this paint. And because I wasn't sure if this stuff would dissolve it at all or what, so there is some stuff on the outside of this, but yeah, this thing is awesome though. I like it. Well, I don't know if this really matters to anybody or not, but I just thought, hey, why not? I'll stick my little tablet up on top of a couple paint cans, and we'll just go ahead and pour this and see what we got going on. Wow, I gotta pull out this little pull tab in here. I got the door open, but not the window because it's raining, and I don't want a little wayward speck of water. I almost called a raindrop a thingamabob, guys. That's how tired I am. Okay, so I don't know. I'm gonna like pour some of this in here, and I'm gonna pour this in there, and then we're just gonna get this stir stick over yonder. Whoa. Anyways, it's not that exciting. It's interesting and like thin, and makes me feel a little bit nervous because I didn't realize just how liquidy the other stuff was gonna be. So it's quite thin. I'm happy that I have the just a little foam roller. Instead of like a deep nap thing, but yeah. Anyways, let's see. I wonder if I can. I was gonna look for something white to give you a comparison of the color. Okay. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off and get cracking. Well then, I did flub some things. Like I forgot to get that edge right in there before I moved out, and then I didn't want to like touch it and stuff. And fortunately, that piece of masking tape isn't actually touching the countertop. But as you can see, like despite the masking, there are some spots here that are not super great, that will be needing some touch-ups. The stuff is really strong, so now that it's stopped raining, I'm probably gonna go ahead and, well, actually, I'm not gonna open that window after all, because then some dust may end up falling on my wet paint, and there's like bugs and stuff. So anyways, but the edging that I had coming out of here, I just had to pull everything off. There's like one piece that's like kind of stuck that I'm gonna have to get out of there later. And then I accidentally got a little bit on there that I gotta touch up. But this is the color. I mean, I don't know, you can see the difference between the gray here and the white that I put just inside of here. I don't know, it's a nice earthy gray. Like, I'm okay with it. Yeah, I know if I would have like taken the time to smooth everything all good and like it would have been better, but you know, I had a plywood countertop for years, and I just want to actually have one that I can just like scrub, you know. So this is how much paint I have left in there now. It basically, this thing, and it was quite drippy, but I had barely used this before, but it was almost like it just like melted my foam brush. And I didn't even get like done with this with the brush. But I like, you know, brushed the edges and then I rolled it, and then by the time I was over there, it's like my brush was melting or something. So I have an hour and 6 minutes on my oven timer for my roast chicken. And I think that I'll just check and see how it's doing then. I don't know. I mean, it's okay. It's interesting because it's like the kind of slatey color I have on the wall almost looks even bluer next to it, which I was surprised by because I had white on there earlier. But it's all right. I'm still excited about my wallflower wallpaper that I'm going to get one of these days eventually. I'll report back in with y'all. Well, my chicken was done roasting a while ago, and I didn't hear the timer go off, and then somebody just inspired me to make some sides, so I'm making some rice and some green beans. But I came in here and I looked at this, and it looked like it was still just completely wet, the paint. But it's like dry to the touch, and I mean, I don't want to like, yeah, so it's just like dry to the touch, but obviously not dry. I think it said something like you're not supposed to get this paint wet for like 3 days because it's supposed to have a longer cure time afterward. But it is dry enough to do a second coat. Now I have this whole food situation. I just snuck off the chicken wings to eat because I was starving, too starving to wait for my rice. But I've been huffing some paint fumes despite having both doors open, and I'm exhausted, but I don't know. I'm really curious to see how it goes. You know, obviously it's got some rough spots, but if it just hardens really good, you know, I mean, the other stuff I had was a little bit scrubbable, but it's like if you had standing water on it or something, it would still kind of cause some damage if you accidentally left any puddle or anything. So I'm hoping this stuff will just be a little bit more durable and able to take some abuse. And I do have like a little slate thing, like a slate coaster with cushions under it, that I think I'm going to go ahead and just try to keep on here anytime I'm actually hooking up my meat grinder or hooking up any of my kitchen appliances that have the clamps. I'm going to just hook it up so that it's putting the pressure against the slate coaster instead of against this actual top. And then hopefully that'll also keep this from getting as damaged. But in any case, I feel like, you know, I'm curious to see later if my foam roller that I wrapped up while I'm waiting on this, because I just wrapped it up in a plastic bag and to wait, but you know, it is kind of like destroying the foam a little bit, so I may have to put a new roller on there. But I actually turned out I only had 2 of those rollers, and I need one to do the over there, the kitchen paint. So anyways, you guys, it's all super shiny. And I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to do another roll later. And then, you know, slowly over time, I'm going to be getting my sink put in. And just not really using it yet, but I'm going to get it, I don't know, I might need to go pick up some parts and things like that, but it may also just drop right in. We'll see. We'll see. Well, before I eat, I was just kind of walking around a little bit. I've got a whole bunch of Countertop flowers all over the place from the rain and everything. But I was checking in, just kind of walking around, seeing how some things we're doing. I've got to whack down that burdock, and I still got armies of thistles. I got different kinds of thistles on this property too, so those flowers are getting ready to open. But I just wanted to show you guys how my Hansen's bush cherries are doing with a week left of June. So this one just has these tiny kind of little fruits that are starting to turn red. I don't know how this one is going to go. I don't know. I forget how long these take to produce. I put them in as tiny little bare root twigs that were just really small. So even though these shapes are completely different, these are the same kind of bush. So as a landscape shrub, this one definitely looks a lot nicer. And you can see it's like the plant isn't established enough yet to support all the fruits, so some of them are kind of all dried up. But I do have some red ones. I mean, here's my thumb in comparison. It just puts off these real little sour cherries. It's kind of like an edible landscape shrub. I don't know what kind of yields that this will actually give when it's putting off more fruit. And then Hezekiah was saying last night that he likes sour cherries, so I'm thinking, because I was trying to figure out what I should put in the orchard over there, whether I should just fill it with peach trees that I sprout from seed, but I may look into some more of the sour cherry varietals that are trees that are maybe going to produce slightly larger fruits. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, I'm starving, so I'm going to eat. You know, I was just thinking that I really dislike how I have to turn off my country music every time before I start recording so that I won't get pinged with a copyright situation. But anyways, I just finished my second coat on this situation. I have a little bit of paint left, but not enough masking tape left. And because this stuff dries so hard, I've been pulling the masking tape off and doing a new one between the coats. So next time I'm just not gonna have enough paint for like a third coat. So I'm just not gonna put it up against the edges, I think, on the third coat. I might just use it to try to like fill some stuff. But anyways, my neighbors came over earlier, and I had given them some plant starters of some of the things that I was growing, and brought them over a little bit of landscape fabric, and they brought me some banana peppers. Look how huge these things are. They're freaking huge, and they have these tiny little bottoms, so I know they're going to be wanting lots of water. But now, since the ground is still all wet from the rain, instead of waiting till tomorrow, I'm just going to go ahead and find a little naked part of an azuki row or something like that where the beans didn't come up because my seeder wasn't working right, and just like pop these bad boys in there. Banana peppers. Anyways. I got a headache from these fumes, but I'm starting to feel good about it. I did like accidentally nick a spot with my fingernail, so it is still soft, and I'm just gonna be super careful not to get anything up on here for the next few days at all whatsoever. Even though it's like, you know, super not perfect, but I don't want needless nicks and things. So anyways, I'm gonna go plant these peppers and maybe do some weeding in my upper bean patch. Well, in any case, my second coat is dry. And it is starting to feel like more of that porcelain-y finish. Now that I feel like maybe it's like hardening more. But I do have enough left for a third coat. And again, I could have done a way better job on this, but I'm actually like, I'm fine with it. I'm okay if my kitchen is slightly, I don't know, ratchet, but functional and just cleanable. That's kind of what I'm going for. And I want something, I don't want my kitchen to be pretentious. And I don't want it, because like, you know, they make the little paint stuff and you can try to make your counter look like marble or stone or whatever. Like, this is just plywood. I don't need to try to make my plywood pretend to be something that it's not. I just want it to be easy to clean and look, you know, reasonable. But yeah, I can feel it's still like, it's going to take a while to cure. But anyways, I've spent some time looking at some other wallpapers. I've been looking at the different stone backsplashes because like I don't have to do anything with this for a while, and I might take my time getting this. I need 2 rolls of this, which is basically $70 for this small space. And it will just, it's a vinyl and it'll just peel off when I'm done with it, whether that's 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, but I really like it. I want something that is just kind of informal and cute and a little bit like a cottage or something. And I don't really, you know, I've eyeballed so many of the different stones and backsplashes and stuff that they have available at the hardware stores, and even thought about like shiplap and different stuff, and I don't know. When I saw the one photo and they just had floral wallpaper on their backsplash, I was like, that's what I need. That's what I want. And that's what it's going to be. So I've been looking around and I still can't find one that I like better. So that's what this is going to be eventually. Anyways, I'm going to get cracking on this third coat, and I'm just going to go ahead and splice these videos together because I've been slacking and on like actually like posting a video today. I should have just posted a short one earlier. But then while this was drying, like it's like super dark outside right now, but while this was drying, I was outside pulling weeds. And then my lower bean patch, all I've really done is I've just walked through there and pulled out thistles by hand. And fortunately, there's not a bunch of little tiny weed things or as much zombie grass in the down below area, especially in the part that is in the further back from the hill. There's not so much zombie grass. So anyways, this is like, it's like a textured, I don't know, it's all right. And then what I'm going to end up doing is probably just one of those, because I don't really have it in me to deal with all the concrete blocks, and my outdoor space isn't going to be ready for a while. So probably what I'm going to do is just get like some soft fabric or something, and it's probably not going to match with this super well. I'm just going to get some soft fabric and probably lay down 2 or 1, I guess it's 16 by 16, so I might only be able to lay down 1. But I'm going to put something down after this cures and lay down one of those slate tiles, large slate tiles that I got, as like a trivet type of thing. So that I can, if I need to be, so that I'll actually be able to put a hot pan on this, but on top of a piece of slate, not actually on the surface. So that should be all right. It's all, I gotta pull out these nails, everything has all gotta come out. This is where I stuck some things that I picked up, but yeah, it's gonna be happening. The sink. all the things. My dishwasher comes in a few days. So I'm being slow, and I'm like not committing to ending this video because I feel like I'm forgetting something because I'm so tired. But that's it for today, y'all. Good night. Oh, the thing I was forgetting, because you know how I'm always faking you guys out with my videos not quite being over yet. Okay, some people don't really understand my life and my world, but sometimes I have people do things like get upset with me and expect me to fix things for them, even things just like the level of their living accommodations for like where they're at for a job or something. Okay? In the meantime, like this is like the state of my feet basically every day until I shower before I go to bed. Okay? This is like the state of like this little section right here like sums up my life right now. And I have people that get upset with me over really entitled childish things, guys. And they demand for me to get better for them, get better like accommodations for them than what I have. And it's just, no, I don't care. Okay? Because this is my world. Look at this farmer's tan on my feet. And you think I'm supposed to care about the level of your accommodations right now. I do not. I hope that everybody's well. Just get your head screwed on straight. Work hard. Grow some things. And don't come at me expecting stuff that I just don't care about. Okay? Take it easy, y'all.